Today, we take you inside one of the most heated confrontations of the Kash Patel hearing, a moment where political rhetoric collided head-on with years of public suspicion surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's network and the federal government's handling of it. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss these key breakdowns.
Yields back. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
It has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale? Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
So you finished that December 2023 interview with a challenge to the FBI and harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public. You can see this clip.
Boy pants, and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and the FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
black book?
Black book.
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
The Rolodex, which is what everybody colloquially refers to as the Black Book, has been released.
Oh, no, you're talking about what the journalist got 5 years ago? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you were talking about there,
That's
the black
exactly
book
what I
under
was
the
talking.
direct control of the FBI director.
We have released more material than anyone else before. The Biden administration, Obama administration had the exact opportunities to release this material, and they never did. And if you are selling the men and women of the FBI,
Why
we're not
you
going after
changed your
child
position?
predators. Hang on, you said we're not going after child predators. 1,500 child predators arrested this year, 35% increase,
I'll reclaim my time.
4,700 child victims
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to reclaim
found.
my time if you could instruct the witness. Why have you changed your position? There you were saying it's under the direct control of the FBI director and all of it should be released. Why have you changed your position?
Everything that has been lawfully permitted to be released has been released. And as I told you,
Really?
the investigation was limited. And let me make something crystal clear. I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic other people, other women, and they're not other victims. This is the investigation we were given from 2006, 7, and 8, and the search warrants from 2006, 7, and 8. That's what we're working with.
Well, wait, have you released all of the stuff that the FBI has seized from Epstein's house? The computers, the emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial records? Have you released all of that?
Everything the court has allowed us to
Which
release.
court are you talking about?
3 separate federal courts have come in and said...
We're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works? Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No, I want you to follow your own word, Director Patel. You said up there it was under the direct control of the FBI director. He had the black book.
Everything I have direct control over, we have gone to court. You haven't.
Complete your sentence. Everything you have direct control over, you said.
Have gone to court, and everything we have direct control over.
Complete your sentence. You said everything.
Release. We're releasing.
He'd like to complete his answer.
You began the sentence, everything you have direct control over, and then you stopped that sentence. You've released everything that you have direct control over?
And I have direct control over and can lawfully release. If you're not familiar with the court orders, that's not my fault.
Oh, I'm
perfectly, look at them.
I'm perfectly familiar
court.
with them. But how did we prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell?
She was prosecuted with the investigatory material that was collected from 2001 and 2005. Because of the non-prosecution agreements and the court orders on the investigations and search warrants, we were not able to develop new information. And oh, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein was out for 12 years, and the Obama and Biden administration did nothing to look at his work, his pedophile network. If you want to blame me, that's fine. But now you're blaming the men and women who conducted this great search.
Stop that. I'm not blaming anybody other than you. You're not keeping your word. You said that you would release all of the materials under your direct control.
Has anyone released more information on Epstein than I have? Has anyone?
Much
did
more.
Comey? Did Wray?
Much
Did
more.
they?
Excuse me. Much more has come out in the days since the American people in Congress have been demanding it, but it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do?
I literally just told you, there are multiple federal court orders. I'm not going to break the law to satisfy your curiosity. You didn't join us when we filed court to release the court orders. You could have. You have lawyers. You could have shown up. You didn't do that.
That's a tiny fraction of the material we're talking about.
That is not.
It is a tiny fraction.
How do you know that? Have you seen everything?
It's all misdirection.
How do you know
Time
that?
of the gentleman has expired. The gentleman from California.
The exchange opened with a pointed reminder from a Maryland lawmaker who replayed Patel's own words back to him. Before becoming FBI director, Patel repeatedly accused the Bureau of protecting Epstein's sample, insisting that the government was shielding the world's most powerful clients from exposure. His past interviews were blunt, almost daring the FBI to prove him wrong. In the 2023 clip the committee played, Patel claimed the Bureau had Epstein's list, that they were sitting on it, and that the only reason it remained hidden was because powerful people were implicated. He even directed Republicans in Congress to put on, as he phrased it, their big boy pants and demand the release of the names he believed were being protected. If you find these insights important, subscribe for continued coverage. The hearing then took a sharper turn. The lawmaker reminded Patel that he was no longer an outside critic. He was now the FBI director, the one person who, by his own words, had the direct authority to release the black book. So the question dropped loudly and simply. Why, after 200 days with this authority, had he not released the names of Epstein's alleged co-conspirators? This moment matters because it touches the center of the public's frustration. For years, the Epstein scandal has symbolized an uncomfortable truth, the belief that certain individuals, especially those tied to wealth and influence, operate under a different system of justice. Subscribe if you want more investigations that make complex issues accessible. Patel responded by arguing that the Rolodex, the document widely known as the Black Book, had already been released, and that his critics were referring to material published by journalists nearly a decade ago. But the committee pushed back, insisting that this was not the complete set of evidence, not the digital archives, not the seized hard drives, not the correspondence, not the financial trails, and certainly not the hundreds of documents that had never been publicly seen. Here is where the conversation deepens. The Black Book is not just a list of names. Law enforcement seized terabytes of data from Epstein's properties. That data could reveal movements, money transfers, communications, and patterns that can either exonerate or implicate individuals. Understanding this helps viewers separate myth from reality and shows why congressional oversight is vital. If clarity like this helps you, remember to subscribe. Patel then shifted strategy, highlighting the FBI's success in arresting over 1,500 child predators this year and identifying thousands of victims, essentially arguing that the Bureau's current operations prove its commitment to fighting exploitation. But the lawmaker reclaimed time, returning to the original question. Why had Patel changed his stance? Why had the man who once accused the FBI of a cover-up now insisted that everything that could be legally released had already been released? This clash illustrates a recurring tension in Washington. Activists and commentators often speak freely, but once placed inside a federal institution, they face legal restrictions, ongoing investigations, sealed warrants, privacy laws, and national security considerations that limit what can be made public. Those constraints do not excuse withholding wrongdoing if it exists, but they show why the shift from critic to official often transforms a person's language. Subscribe if you want this kind of nuanced analysis. Finally, the lawmaker pressed the point that resonated with viewers nationwide. Had the FBI released everything seized from Epstein's homes, including computers, emails, financial records, and documents that could map out an entire hidden ecosystem of exploitation? Patel said yes, everything the courts had allowed them to release. That phrase is doing heavy lifting. Court restrictions do not come from the FBI alone. Judges may seal documents to protect active investigations, to avoid compromising prosecutions, or to protect victims whose identities could be revealed. The public often sees a wall of secrecy and assumes corruption, and sometimes history proves them right. But sometimes the restrictions are legally mandated safeguards that ensure a case is airtight. Understanding these legal mechanics helps citizens interpret moments like this without falling into conspiracy or complacency. And if you value this kind of clear explanation, make sure you subscribe. Patel then shifted strategy, highlighting the FBI's success in arresting over 1,500 child predators this year and identifying thousands of victims, essentially arguing that the Bureau's current operations prove its commitment to fighting exploitation. But the lawmaker reclaimed time, returning to the original question: why had Patel changed his stance? Why had the man who once accused the FBI of a cover-up now insisted that everything that could be legally released had already been released? This clash illustrates a recurring tension in Washington. Activists and commentators often speak freely, but once placed inside a federal institution, they face legal restrictions, ongoing investigations, sealed warrants, privacy laws, and national security considerations that limit what can be made public. Those constraints do not excuse withholding wrongdoing if it exists, but they show why the shift from critic to official often transforms a person's language. Subscribe if you want this kind of nuanced analysis. Finally, the lawmaker pressed the point that resonated with viewers nationwide. Had the FBI released everything seized from Epstein's homes, including computers, emails, financial records, and documents that could map out an entire hidden ecosystem of exploitation? Patel said yes. Everything the courts had allowed them to release. That phrase is doing heavy lifting. Court restrictions do not come from the FBI alone. Judges may seal documents to protect active investigations, to avoid compromising prosecutions, or to protect victims whose identities could be revealed. The public often sees a wall of secrecy and assumes corruption, and sometimes history proves them right. But sometimes the restrictions are legally mandated safeguards that ensure a case is airtight. Understanding these legal mechanics helps citizens interpret moments like this without falling into conspiracy or complacency. And if you value this kind of clear explanation, make sure you subscribe.